on it how to do it.
Step 1.
Yeah. You hear the frogs?
Yeah.
Just hear him, can't you? So we've lived here about 15 years. So when I got the place, boys, it was just a completely bare paddock. It's 2 hectares or 5 acres, and when we bought it, we spent all our money getting the land, and I thought, oh, we won't have any money to build a house. So I thought, how will we make a house pretty cheap? And I thought, well, let's have a go making it out of recycled stuff. So made it out of mud bricks, and I bought a bridge, an old bridge, so all the timber off that, and people would be, in trucks would be clearing bush and whatever, and I get them to dump their logs here. So you spread them around, and it makes it look a bit more natural. But what I found by doing all of this and creating this landscaping and bush, all the wildlife started moving in, and that's when you start to think, gee, this is good fun. Possums and all the beautiful little birds, and that's why I thought, well, let's get it happening, right around the back and along the creek, and get a trail happening where you can just keep walking and riding your bike all the way down the creek to the beach, and out to the Devil Bend Reservoir. Have you heard of that? That's only a few kilometres away. You get the track happening out there, and then eventually tracks everywhere, so you can ride your bikes out on the weekends. I come from a farm, and when my dad bought the land when I was a little kid, it was all bush, and he cleared his first paddock of 60 acres, and he cleared it completely, and my mum got pretty peeved off. She said there were beautiful black boys and wildflowers there, so she when he cleared his next paddock, he left lots of patches of bush. So it's 500 acres now, and it's hilly, there's bush everywhere, and it's a beautiful place to go home to because you've got so much wildlife. So when I bought this, and it was completely bare, I thought, well, I've got to have the bush around, and that's what did it for me, I think. It's Bob, and there's another dog, Maggie, but I think you'll see her later, she's round the back. Yeah. You'll see the primary school kids, they'll go out the back, and they've already made all these homes for wildlife, and they're pretty excited, and they come down and they just get into it. They're shifting rocks and logs around, and they're running from the spot where they get all their stuff. There's gravel and plants and tools and whatever. They're running backwards and forwards, making their possum boxes and things. So it's you'll see that'll be good fun.
I'll call it Gary. Gary. It's Gary, okay?
See the little one? Yeah, it was messed up.
Hold it by its bum. Oh. How cute is this? Looks like a hamster.
Oh my god, it's so cute. It's so small. Another peacock. Another peacock.
Enjoy my.
This morning I've been helping build animal habitats, like this possum highway up here. It's just a rope from one tree to another so possums can easily get across. Come on, Henry. I'm gonna get it, Henry, don't pull it. Matt. I got it.
Got it? Awesome.
Like, we're getting one of those like wooden big logs and sticking it in, and then we're gonna put the dirt back in.
And what do we use it for?
Like so.
Good looks.
Good
looks.
And lizards could climb up it.
Cool.
And so then a plant can grow next to it, and it can wrap itself around.
Oh yeah. So that's for the lizards, all those rocks there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of lizards have already moved into the habitats that the kids have made, but right at the moment we're in the middle of June, and the blue-tongued lizards are generally all hibernating, so we try not to disturb them too much because they may die later on if you're sort of handling them when they're sleeping. Yeah, it's a great little spot we've made here. This is these are the pier posts from the old Mornington Pier. So have you guys jumped off the Mornington Pier before? Or? Yeah. Can you remember only a year or so ago when it was all timber, these big old posts were there? And Henry, have you seen how they've knocked all these posts out and they're putting in a concrete pier now? Yeah. So what's happened is they had all of these truckloads of these, and I got a couple of truckloads, and made this seating out of them, and I reckon it looks all right.
So how do you see this whole place developing, Tony? What do you think down the track is going to be?
Well, I think if it generally stays the same, but the main thing is if people can come out and enjoy it, Terry. If they feel like, gee, it's nice being out here, you know, around the fire, nice seating, lots of animals and birds and things, then that's how I'd like to see the outcome. What's interesting, I've been here 14 years, and very rarely would you ever see kids come down here and out along the creek. They just haven't been doing it in all those years. And I think, gee, something's missing. You know, you think back to your own childhood, everyone was out around the creeks and whatever, around the edge of the town. Whereas now that this has been going for a few months, this is interesting, boys. Now that this project's been going for a few months and kids have been coming down during school hours and making their wildlife habitats, the kids are down here on the weekends and they ride their bikes down with their mates and they're making stuff, and it's full of kids. And I think that's sort of like, that's maybe the magic of it, that it's drawing kids back outside again. And I think as far as the environment goes, you know, I'm pretty concerned about what's happening to the environment, but I think people in general won't relate to it unless they've been out in it and they enjoy it, and then they can start thinking, well, gee, let's make the most of this environment. Let's keep the birds here, and because all those little birds in another 20, 30 years, as it heats up more, as global warming happens, a lot of the little birds can't tolerate the really high temperature days and they'll all die out. So if we can all get a bit more concerned about it, then you know, we can do something about it. But once you're out enjoying it, that's when people relate to it. And that's the purpose of what I'm trying to do, is get people out seeing it and enjoying it.
So small, it's like cat size.
In the deep part way down there, which is about 3 metres deep, there's these big fish called silver perch, about that big, and they swim out and they come right up around the hut here, and the water's about that deep, and you can just see them, but you can see where they're swimming because all the reeds are moving. Yeah. Then as the water goes down, as it comes into summer, they all go back to the deep bit. Once you start putting the stuff on the ground, all the understory, then you get all the little birds and lizards, you know, blue tongues and skinks and everything. You get the occasional snake, but they're all right. They're not too much of a worry. They always slither off. 3 or 4 different types of ducks. There's black ducks and wood ducks and teal, and anyway, they all nest. See all the logs and things, they nest in those, and there's little ducks everywhere, little ducklings. If you can create bush and wildlife around you, and all the wildlife is there, it just makes it a much nicer home. You feel like you've got a great big family around you. And I hope that's what the kids are doing, what they're feeling, the primary school kids, when they're coming down and doing these homes for wildlife in this landcare project, that they're just having a lot of fun making homes for wildlife and getting the animals to move in around them. It's good to have a little spot where you can, you know, get away from everything and sit around the fire, isn't it?